Welcome back to the ChrissieCast, Dave Thornton.
Good to be here. Love the new decor.
Thank you.
Love what you've done with the place.
New studio feels with a Z.
Well, mate, I feels real goods with a Z.
I haven't seen you since I've been back from Europe. I'm forever changed.
Oh, have you travelled?
Yeah.
Babes.
Have you been to Europe before?
Yes, I backpacked like a dirty scrubber. And
So did I.
I did a bit of that gear. I'm trying to think if I've been back as an adult and enjoyed it as an adult.
It's so magical. I can't recommend it enough.
I did go to England, which is not Europe. And then, yeah, when my now 7-year-old was young.
Yeah.
So that was the last time.
One of the highlights was, because I love food, as you know, one of the highlights was a mortadella focaccia in Florence. And it was really the reason I went to Florence was to eat this focaccia.
An actual focaccia, not Baker's Delight focaccia.
Which is very good, by the way. I love those salt flakes and the rosemary ones.
Oh, I remember in the 90s when that just turned up and we all went, sorry, what?
What is a focaccia?
That's what my dad would have said.
Yes. My dad still does.
Focaccia?
Yeah, and my dad will not go to a cafe unless they serve coffee in mugs.
Cup of chino?
Yes. A hot cup of chino in a mug.
Mugachino. Let's bloody live, guys.
I went to Florence. It was very hot, but I still had to get this focaccia. So I had a little hack, really, and I realised that I could skip the queue because it's a famous focaccia in Florence. You've got to queue up for it.
Do you?
I hate queuing.
The loon of Florence focaccia.
Have you ever queued for a croissant at Loon? I see that queue all the time and I think I couldn't do it. They are a fine croissant, don't get me wrong.
Please. Yes, but I know what you're saying. But then the line goes down a bit and you go, what is going on here? And then you have it.
And then
I'm on the take.
I've got it.
I'm on the take.
So I saw the queues for this focaccia.
I will sell my children for this.
Yeah. What children? I'm here at school pickup. They'll have to wait.
Deal with it.
After school care.
So this is up there. The focaccia is Loon up there.
Yes, and I kept on looking at it going, oh, God, there's a queue. Then I saw all over the city the equivalent of Uber Eats. So I stayed in my apartment and I ordered on Uber Eats and I got it quicker than ever.
That's living.
And I thought, and it was magnificent.
Yeah.
It was a great focaccia. And I looked out the window and I waited until I could see the Uber driver coming with it. It was magic. And I thought it was a very smart, amazing thing. I shared it on Instagram. Somebody said, "You are the reason tourism is ruining Firenze. Shame on you."
What?
Because for two reasons. One, I had bought into the hype of an Insta-famous focaccia place in Florence.
Yeah.
And two, I'd ordered it on Uber Eats. So me, Chrissy Swan, I am the reason tourism is ruining Firenze. Shame on you. I just love the shame on you.
Yeah. Tisk. Shame
tisk.
on you.
Are you, I reckon this is the sort of person that leaves negative Google reviews. I would never do that.
I'm obsessed with bad Google reviews, and for things that are inconsequential.
Yeah.
I got obsessed with this for a while. The Balti Bridge here in Melbourne, one of the major bridges across the Yarra.
Does it have an option for leaving a review?
There's about 200.
It's a bridge.
I know.
Does it get you from one side of a body of water to another? Yes, it's done.
And are you still dry? You've nailed it, mate. It is a bridge. That stuff freaks me out. I find it so funny. People will review highways and things like that. I find it hilarious.
What on earth could someone say about a bridge that's not, thank you?
It's a road in the sky. You've nailed it.
And it's not falling down.
Absolutely. And so, but people talk about the traffic. I'm like, that's not the bridge's fault. The bridge is doing its job.
Yes.
Shut your face hole. But also, old mate that left that review for you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're helping out the local economy.
Well, I would have thought so, yes.
You're helping out the local Uber Eats guy. If he was
Yes.
standing in the line, he's not getting paid, is he?
That's right.
So there's two people making money as opposed to one.
And I tagged the business.
Yeah?
Come on.
Please. I know you had the Renaissance, but this focaccia is peak Florence.
I just couldn't believe it.
Beautiful town, though.
It is a great town.
Gorgeous.
It's too hot for me, though.
Was it?
Yeah.
The rolling hills.
And I was having a bad day.
Oh, you reckon?
I was having a bad day
the day
in
you
Florence.
didn't want to leave and ordered Uber Eats. I reckon you were. You'd had enough.
Yeah.
Close the Venetian blinds.
It was towards the end of the holiday, and I'd done the equivalent of, Vivian Lee at the end of Gone with the Wind. I'd just thrown myself on the bed. I was sick of packing and unpacking.
Topical reference.
And also, the place I was staying in did not have a shower.
What?
I know. So
what?
It was beautiful. I walked in and it was like Nonna had just gone, I better go, someone's staying in my house, right? It was incredible. And I thought, I'm going to go and have a shower first because that's my go-to.
Yeah, when you're travelling, of course, there's nothing worse. You want to get in, clean whatever you've just caught from the Euro rail.
Yeah, that's right. And I went into the bathroom and I looked in the corner and there was a tiny bath.
Yeah.
And it was sort of built into an attic style room. The roof sloped directly over the top of the bath. So I was like at a 45-degree angle.
Oh God.
And I was like, how do I get in to that? And I immediately thought, I wish I was Mr. Rush from the Roger Hargraves book. You know, Mr. Rush, he's like a little triangle. He would have sat there beautifully. He would have fit gorgeously. Anyway, attached to
if you were the shape of a doorstop, things would have been great.
That would have been perfect. Perfect.
Well, that is on you, to be honest.
I know. What was I thinking?
Yeah, you're in Florence, mate. Work it out.
And then attached to the wall adjacent to it was a handheld. It was like a ye old phone, but it was a handheld shower. So I was so flummoxed. I was like, how am I? Obviously, I can't have a shower because I'm not Mr. Rush. Yeah. I'm not shaped like a doorstop or a wedge. So I got my clothes off and I thought it must work. So I got in to the bath where I stood. You couldn't sit. I stood there and then on an angle like this, leaning away from the roof, a little trickle of water came out. And then, think about it, how do you soap yourself? You've got to put the handheld shower down.
Pre-sud.
Yeah, and then soap yourself up. And then it was a bridge too far. It was a Balti too far at that point, and it just plunged me into a deep depression.
Yeah, I could imagine that because so much is happening. That's like how I go to the toilet in planes because the roof is so that you're crouched over but you're just trying to get through it and it needs to happen. It's not an enjoyable shower. And this is the thing I remembered in Europe. See, Florence obviously didn't cop a bombing during World War II.
No.
Because quite often the places that did, they get new infrastructure. So like, let's all build new showers. Let's get all the modern trick out. When that bath has more or less been there probably since the 1600s, when they were like, yeah, it's fine. I've just got a bucket and water. Don't worry about it. But now you're going, this is not the way we can live.
I can't live like that. It was the end. And so I just lay on the bed for a while and ordered a focaccia on Uber Eats.
Oh, that makes you happy. Did you see the statue of David?
No, it's too
You didn't
hot.
see it?
It's too hot.
I went there hungover when I was backpacking and I was actually impressed by that statue. I thought I'd be underwhelmed, but it was the opposite.
Oh, now I'm sad I missed it. I saw a lot of replicas. I was in the city square, essentially. Palazzo.
Oh.
Alla Palazzo.
Jeez, you were in Italy. Hello.
And there was just a replica of David. I was like, why am I going to queue up to see the real thing? That'll do.
Yeah, I remember that. There was a couple of them just hanging around.
Why? Like, keep your powder dry, Firenze.
Yeah.
Make people go to the real one.
That is so true.
Yeah.
We don't have knockoff Fed squares just hanging around Melbourne.
We don't.
We have the one and the original.
Yes.
And so you've got to go there. That's it.
You know, the greatest part of the holiday, and like no offense to my children, was that I didn't have my kids with me.
That sounds slightly offensive to your children.
But the thing is, they don't realise because they're kids, and I don't think I realised until I had kids, is that a holiday with kids is not really a holiday. And I know that everybody says that, and until you go on a holiday with your kids, you don't really realise the penny drops. You go, oh, this is exactly the same as being at home, but worse.
Parenting on tour.
It's hard because they don't have their stuff.
Yeah, and you don't have your routine.
Yeah.
And they're staying up late and not knowing where they are. And
then you're and if you're in a place that none of you know, all you do is, I call it snack hunting. You wake up in the morning and you're like, where am I going to hunt the next snacks?
Yeah, what food have we got? And then you take them to really lovely places and like, I don't really like this. And you're like, this is like a world-renowned pasta restaurant.
I've Googled it. They sell hot chips. Be happy.
Sort it out. That's great because you just described the month I had with my family.
Where did you go?
Well, I don't know if you've heard of a little place, the Europe of Australia, Northern Territory.
I love Northern Territory.
It's got nothing to do with Europe. It's the complete opposite.
Side note, have you seen Last Stop Larimer?
No.
You must, particularly if you're fresh from the Territory. See, I'm a local. I just call it the Territory. I'm a Territorian.
Oh, yeah, please.
You must watch it, Last Stop Larimer. It is chef's kiss.
Mate, it is funny because you think, I was there in Northern Territory, and when you've got mates from overseas who think it's all spiders and sharks and crocs, you know when they all think that? And you're living in suburban Melbourne going, what? Like I had a friend, he came over from England, looked at the Yarra River and he said, is there sharks in there? And I said, no.
No.
He said, crocs? No.
But there is a bird man.
Yeah. And there's industrial waste that will burn off a limb. But there's none of those apex predators.
Have you ever been king of Moomba?
No. And I regret it to this day.
Oh, no, it's not too late.
Please.
Oh, they scraped the barrel.
I know you've been royalty.
I have. Thank you so much, HRH. Back to the Territory, please.
Do the birdmen have to kiss your ring? Is it like when the Pope visits? Like,
look, my king was Jimmy Giggle.
Was it?
From Giggle and Hoot. And, call the publications because there was ring kissing.
What was it like? Were you like real royal family, sleeping in different beds? There was no...
Working out the problems of our weird son, Yeah.
Northern Territory, though, if you want Australia, it's like that's everything that's on the label.
100%.
Like you get there, there's humidity. Everyone's a bit, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like they always say NT stands for not today, not tomorrow, not Tuesday, not Thursday. We'll get it done.
Maybe I should live in the Territory because I need a bit more of that. A bit more relax.
Mate, it's relaxed to the point of, somebody went to Kakadu and you go to the watering holes and they just casually go, yeah, the one at the bottom, that's where all your salt water crocs are. The salties are all down there. But if you go to the top one, it's just freshwater crocs and they don't care about, they get scared off by humans. So yeah, go for it. Have a swim. Sorry, what?
What, swim with crocodiles? I can think of nothing worse.
And they just go, yeah, you'll be fine, man. Be fine. In the top one, the one that's just up a bit on the cliff, you'll be all right. And you go, I can't believe this is happening. We jumped in a couple watering holes where they said there could be freshwater crocs in here.
I feel like any areas that have hot weather, the culture is like, life is optional.
I agree with you.
The hotter the temperatures, the less life matters.
Yeah, the closer you get to an equator.
Yes.
Like think about how many inventions have come out from countries close to the equator.
That's right.
They're always from cultures that are closer to the poles because they're like, we have to invent houses that have insulation.
That's right.
Because when you're living, say, on a Pacific island, you go, well, what do you mean? Like food's all here.
Doesn't matter.
What do I have to do?
Yes, I agree. Even in Italy, it gets very hot in summer, hotter than here, and they just shut up shop.
Yeah.
Just relax. Like if I wanted that focaccia between 12:30 and 2:30, sorry, no, it's too hot, I'm resting. I love that element of it.
I remember when my partner and I were traveling, we're in South America, and it sounds like a joke, but this is all true. We were traveling and there was a guy from Spain, Italy and Germany. And at the time...
Did they go into a bar?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. And this is when, remember the Euro crisis was on? It wasn't the GFC. It was just Europe had it kind of gone boobs up because they were... Anyway, and it was funny because my partner brought it up just saying, it's a bit tough in Europe right now. That's when the Greek economy just bottomed out.
That's right. Yeah, it was worth like $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because they're all now part of the euro, they were all like, are you shitting me? And it was like one housemate who was like, you're not getting your bond back.
Yes.
They were fucking it for everyone. And so we brought it up and it was hilarious because each one did what you'd expect from them. Like the Italian and the Spanish guy were like, well, what do you just What are we supposed to do? Like, we'd hang out, we'd try our hardest, but, you know, what are you going to do? Like, don't change things. And the German was like, well, the austerity measures, we could do these things. And like, don't tell us how to live. We live. And I was like, oh, my God, this is it. This is playing out in front of us. Because you're right, all the Mediterranean countries are like, what do you mean? I could do nap at 2 o'clock. What are you talking about? And the Germans are like, they can get things done.
Yes. That just you talking about Greece there in the Euro area, whatever, the Euro group.
Yeah.
Reminds me of, you know, when you were at school and you got the group assignment, or at uni, the group assignment, and there was always one that did sweet FA.
Yeah.
Was that you, or were you the organiser?
I have a distinct memory of me breaking off from a group because the guy was pissing me off like that, so I could just do my own thing.
Me too.
Yeah.
Like, what a square. Going to see the teacher going, I can't deal with it. I can't work under these conditions.
What do you want from me?
Are you joking?
Which, I mean, in my better times, I know politicians, there's a lot going wrong, but I would think that would be hard in that position where you've got to look after everyone, and it would be, you know, it's the worst of humanity you've usually got to concentrate on.
Yes.
You're like, just be better. But you got to go, okay, yeah, no, how can we help you? Let's work it out.
Did you end up going to Mindle Beach Market in Darwin and eating a laksa?
I did.
Life-changing.
And I had a mate from Darwin message me and go, oh, it's so good, isn't it? I said, the market was amazing. She said, you didn't applaud when the sun went down, did you? And I was like, oh, no.
Of course I did.
Maybe. And you're right, laksa's up there. They love a laksa. And when you think hot weather, no, thank you. But when you have it,
no, it's
incredible.
It is incredible. And I think that it's incredible in those conditions. Same reason. Did you know that if you burn yourself, what's the first thing that you do? You put cold water on. No, you should put warm.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Because the warm, for some reason, takes the heat out of the wound.
Yeah.
And cold increases the heat. Okay. I mean, tell that to a screaming 6-year-old that's just grabbed a birthday party sparkler with their little chubby hand.
I'm just going to put the kettle on, mate. I'll come back to fix this.
No, not boiling water. Not boiling water.
No.
You don't turn on the billy and burn them further. Just warm water out of the tap.
Okay. Stick them in a spa. Work it out. But... you know, this is another thing in the NT, and you're like, this is when I realised we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
So I got my bus licence. I had to get it because we drove a coach, like a 25-seater coach.
Well, you and just your 3 family members?
Yeah. And so
like the Partridge family?
There was a bit of that. It was a bit, we looked like Joe Jackson just taking the Jacksons around and be like, perform, get back in the bus.
Wow, I'm so impressed.
Got a fallback now, Chrissy.
Who were the backseat toughs?
My 2 kids. Was that we there yet? Just shut up. And so I was working this bus because there's good friends of ours. They did up the bus. They got kids the same age. He did it all up. He's a Sparky. And then they drove it up to Darwin and said, we don't know how we're getting it back to Victoria. Nikki and I went, okay, then we'll fly up to Darwin and drive it back.
This is amazing. What sort of modifications does this dream bus have, Scooby-Doo bus?
It was an ex-WA school bus, so it's orange and white because I realised they were the school bus colours.
Dave, my mind is blown. I had no idea. This is like a dream.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Mate, a full bus driver. Like, I'll crank my socks up. I'll wear pleated shorts. I'll do whatever it takes.
Did you have to use 2 hands and move the wheel in increments?
Yep. And so we got the licence. That was a bit of fun as well. I mean, just getting the licence.
How do you get the licence?
I went out to Altona and you got to go down there and take the tests and do all the stuff.
Do they have to test how your testicles sit on vinyl seats and stuff? Like the important stuff?
I said, I grew up in the 80s. I sat on many a vinyl bench seat. Don't you worry, my testicles are ready. My thighs are ready after branded by the metal.
Did the door open on an arm and did it make a sound?
You can, but we took that off and then you could just open it yourself. But yes, you could go and open the side door.
A modification. Was there a coin tray at the front?
There wasn't.
Oh, I'd have to modify it.
Tap and go. But Kids, top up your Mikey. I don't want to be working with
This
change.
is so good.
So the back was there was a kitchen in it and then a fold-out bed. There was a big bed at the back and then there was a kitchen that you folded down to another bed, which is what I slept on. And then my partner slept with the two kids in the big double bed up back.
Because you're the driver. You need to be well rested.
Well, Nikki, she got her license as well.
You're joking.
So, yeah, I'm sleeping with a bus driver.
That is awesome.
I never knew I had that kink, but it's here now.
So you flew, you all flew to Darwin and met the bus there.
You met the bus there. Molly, yes, met Molly. And then we got ourselves ready. And I'm the least handiest man in the world, but I had to catch up on so much stuff because you had to be across how much power was in the car, in the bus, I should say, how much water we had, just to fill it all up. And I know people listening to this going, oh, that sounds really hard. It is for me, okay?
Oh, of course it is. Very hard.
For a man who just holds a microphone and talks shit for a living, this was a real crash course.
I want more. I want more information.
So, we fanged it from Darwin to Kakadu.
Yeah.
Did all this. But the only thing was, and again, this is something I learned, the starter motor wasn't working well, so it wasn't turning over. So you'd turn the keys, it's giving me nothing.
It's the most masculine thing you've ever said since I've known you. It's been a long time.
Do you feel confused at this point?
Who are you?
Who is this man? And so we pull up halfway between Tennant Creek and Catherine.
Oh, my God, I know it so well. I love it so much.
We pulled into this place and it was just a petrol station and a pub.
I had the best egg and bacon sandwich of my life at that Tennant Creek. Oh, no, in between. Sorry. At Tennant Creek, I had the best egg and bacon sandwich of my life.
Tennant Creek doesn't mess around.
Tennant Creek's amazing.
And then so we pull into this place, fill it up with diesel, and then it doesn't.
Again, 2 for 2. Fill it up with diesel is the most masculine thing you've ever said.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Fill it up with diesel.
Get on, you guys. Kick the tyres. And then, but then we couldn't turn it over. So we're like, oh no, it's not. So we push it out of the way and they go, Richie's a bush mechanic. He can fix anything. We go, okay. Richie's been on the cans all day. And Richie swans over and he's already got a limp. And I'm like, okay, Richie's seen some stuff.
He's only limping because there's a hunting knife in his sock and come nightfall, none of you are going to make it.
Yeah, he's going to gut you like a pig and sell your organs on the black market.
Yes.
And so Richie, rather than putting it up on a jack, he gets a forklift out. I don't know where he got it from, and just gets the front of the bus on a forklift and lifts it up and then goes under the bus. And I'm like, what's going on, Richie? And he goes, it's just easier, mate, like this, just easier. And we're like, Richie's going to die under our bus.
Yeah.
Richie does all this stuff, works it all out, and he's being very casual with me, like, mate, can you just take the battery off the power source? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, mate. I don't know what's going on here. Richie finally got it to work, but he goes, you'll have to kind of get it to Alice Springs. Like, if you turn this thing off, it'll probably just die. So we are just gunning it.
Oh my God, it's suddenly like Speed.
It was like that. It's like if we stop, we will stop forever. And so we were like, thanks, Richie. And I just, whatever cash that I had on me, I gave it to Richie. He put it back on the bar.
Were you like, girls, that's Kakadu, we're not stopping. Girls, that's the devil's marbles.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just go. We've got to go. So we get to Alice. And mate, Alice Springs is hilarious because we get there, find a mechanic, and he's like, yeah, I don't know where we're going to get the part from. I don't know. We'll see how we go. And people were telling me, yeah, Alice has got a weird energy. It just brings people in. I'm like, no, it doesn't. It's one of the most isolated towns in the world.
Yeah.
There's red dust everywhere. Cars shit themselves, and this is the only place to get it fixed.
And all the nightclubs are called like Rumours.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They
Cocktails and Dreams, all with Zs.
Feel like something from the 80s.
Yes.
But then this is how boring my life is that we get to Alice Springs, and it wasn't until day 3 that people were saying, so sorry about the curfew. And I said, what curfew? And they said, everyone's got to stay inside after nightfall because there's been warring tribes. And I said,
wow.
What? And they said, because a lot of Indigenous people live in the Todd River, which is a dry bed.
Yeah.
And then they'd had a lot of rainfall. Water had come through.
Wow, it was running.
So they went, where are we going to live now? And they just went into the city of Alice Springs. And then there was clans were having problems and having legit, like turning cars over and setting them on fire problems.
Wow.
But of course, I got young kids and they go to bed at 7 o'clock and we're both like, let's just go to bed.
What even is leaving the house after 9? In fact, every time I do leave the house after 9 o'clock, like sometimes if I've got to run to Kmart or something,
yeah,
immediately, like for book week or whatever, and I go, actually, Kmart's still open. I can go. I'm like, what?
There's a world here.
Life is happening.
Yeah.
At 9 o'clock.
This is crazy.
And I go, I must bring my kids out because they don't know. I must bring my kids just to the street and go, look, there's people who are alive.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I mean, what you were talking about before, especially when you're travelling, is that because you're so worn out all day, just going, yep, okay, mate, we're getting there. Yes, we'll find something. Don't worry, mate.
Yeah.
You're just so worn out. And we did some really fun stuff, but you're just knackered. And so, they're in their Jimmy Jams at 6 and Nikki and I are looking at each other like, we'll just put them down and read half a page and the book and fall asleep.
Yes.
So I had no idea there was a nighttime war going on in Alice Springs until like day 3 or 4.
How amazing.
Because I'm like, I don't know, mate. I'm trying to sleep 11 hours a day just to catch up on energy.
Where were you staying? Like, did you just stay in like motels where you drive up to the door? I love that.
No, well, we were staying in Molly, the bus. Like that's where.
Oh, that's right. You were sleeping in the bus.
We were sleeping in the bus.
Was it cold?
No, it was actually all right. Well, up in Kakadu, it was 30 degrees at night time. So you had the opposite problem. You had to leave the air conditioning on all day. All night, I should say.
What, the engine running?
No, mate, this is the thing with the bus, right?
Yeah.
It's just connected to a different battery.
Sure.
And Sammy, the old owner, he'd put some solar on the top so it gets it through the day. And then it actually charges when you're driving. I learned all this.
God, Sammy's smart.
Sammy's very smart. He's a handy guy, good-looking fella. He's a sparky. He was actually, I'm like, oh, Sam. Like,
was he calling in occasionally going, how is she?
We'd call him.
Have you done anything?
How's this? Because he's a sailor and he bought a catamaran in Darwin. This is the whole plan.
Did you just say catamaran?
Catamaran, sorry.
I thought you said catamaran and I was about to show you the door. That's unforgivable.
Are you asking about my catamaran?
Yes, I am asking specifically about catamaran.
And so he'd gotten this thing in Darwin and he was sailing to Indonesia because he's also a sailor who just fishes when he's out there in the open ocean.
Stories? I had no idea.
This dude is something else. Nikki laughs because she goes, we get along like a house on fire. And she goes, you have zero interest together because he's the handiest man in the world. And I'm like, huh? But I asked him because I'm like, this is amazing. This is a world like, he'll just oxytorch something. And he was talking about like welding shit. And I'm like, yeah, same. But we get along really well, but we've got nothing in common. And so he's done this bus up. So it was weird because he'd go, just call me if there's ever a problem. Just WhatsApp me. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll FaceTime each other. And so we were getting roadside assistance from a man on water on a boat going, yeah, mate, just bloody get that wire, cut that into there.
Did you have to do that?
I did that at times.
Did you think the whole thing was going to blow up?
Yeah, or me. Like I'd just combust.
How did you meet Sam?
Well, it was through our partners, they're old friends.
Right.
And then Sammy and I were like, he's just the loveliest bloke. And yeah. So
that's amazing.
I'm useless. So it was, there was a lot of that, just trying to get Molly to get moving.
The reason I know so much about the Northern Territory is my dad lived there for a while and I would go and visit him when I was a teenager and he did all the tourist stuff with us. So, we would arrive or I would arrive solo and he took us to Kakadu and the day, I think we did like a 3-day thing.
Yeah.
We saw the pig in the stone. Did you do the sort of boat trip? Anyway.
Oh, yeah, jumping crocs and all that stuff.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Did it very well. Lots of open marshlands and whatever. And after 3 days, we're sitting in the motel. My dad loves a motel. And that's where I first fell in love with the idea of breakfast coming through a door. Heaven. The little special bespoke door. And the toast is in its own little wax bag. Oh, my God, amazing. Anyway, he said, girls, I'm going to say something. And when Dad says that, I am all ears.
Okay.
Because I know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Girls, I'm going to say something, and that is that Kakadu is the biggest rort perpetrated by man.
Wow. That's a strong opener.
He thought, and I sort of agree with him, it's a bit boring.
It is.
Like,
it's got its spots, but there's a whole lot of nothing as well between the things that you like to see.
And then another greatest hits from Dad on that holiday was we were climbing up, I want to say Norlangi Rock.
Okay.
Does that ring a bell? Or there's just so much going on there, and if you pull over there, you'll see it. If you don't pull over there, whatever. Anyway, we were winding up and down this rock. It was a little bit picnic at Hanging Rock, so my sister and I were calling each other Edith. And
that's the equivalent of being on a flight and going la ba da 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 la bamba. Like you are welcoming misery.
I actually know all the words to La Bamba.
Do you?
Yeah.
I just said them. Ba da da ba da da bamba.
No.
I sing it on my catamaran all the time.
Anyway, we were climbing up and down these red rocks, whatever. And Dad whispers, he comes up behind us. No, we were lagging behind because we really were, Edith, in the heat. And he's waiting, and he's got, those chemist shades that are covered all the way down the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that a look?
And he's got my hat on because he, I don't need a bloody hat. 10 minutes later, have you got a hat? It seems to be hot and I'm burning.
It's a sign of weakness. I don't need it. Oh, God.
He was wearing like a soft cane sports girl hat that I had brought with me.
Is he single?
He was looking, no, he's not. He was lurking around a red stone corner and he goes, girls, that man is a shyster.
A shyster?
We're like, what? And he goes, shh, that man behind us is a shyster. And we're like, what are you talking about? There was like maybe 10 people walking the rock at the time, 3 of us and then, 7 others. One man in the group had a pair of dark shades on, not unlike my own father at the time, dark shades and a cap. And he did look dodgy, but everybody looks dodgy in cap and glasses. Dad had recognised him from a current affairs story a month earlier where he'd been ripping people off.
Oh, so it wasn't just a personal assessment.
It was a shyster.
It
was a bona fide shyster introduced as such by Tracy Grimshaw on A Current Affair.
Yeah.
And that phrase, that man is a shyster, was added into Swan family folklore ever since.
Shyster's very funny too, because what is it, Yiddish, I think, shyster.
I think it is, yeah.
Which is so... It speaks of a man who's trying to play a card game and swindle some cash off you.
Completely.
Shyster, that's very funny. And he's gone to the NT to obviously get away from the infamy of that A Current Affair episode.
Of someone beating down his car door or,
And Daddy Swan was like, oh, no, mate, not on my watch. I know who you are.
Absolutely not. I'm telling my girls.
And he's wearing the same outfit that your dad is wearing.
I know.
He's like, can't be trusted.
He didn't have the floppy sports girl hat, but yeah, I get the drift. So I find the weirdest thing with any road trip is when you start coming back home, when you start entering the city limits of where you live.
Yeah.
Was that a weird feeling in Molly after doing everything that you'd been doing when that kind of scenery shifted?
Yeah, and it's like the Emerald City in Wizard of Oz. You're like, oh, my God, we're heading back here. But you realise we were a month away. And so it was a month of – I mean, Darwin, for anyone who's been there, it's not a bustling metropolis.
No.
Like, what they say, there's not even 500,000 people in the NT.
No. And
so you go to Melbourne and what is there now, 4 million or something? I don't know. And so you're just used to the sparseness. You do adjust and kind of go, there's nothing out here.
Mm.
Although, to your story about your dad, I remember we went to a burr, which is beautiful, and it's a rock that you just, like around there, they always like, just watch the sunset, which seems to be the main thing in Kakadu. Watch the sunset or the sunrise wherever you are. But it is majestic, because how many times do you do that in the city? But we get up on this rock. But the only thing it was, according to the photos, it looked incredible. It looked like it was just our family, the sunset, watching it all. Behind us, there's an entire school troop from like a high school troop who were just ruining everything. All these people were just sitting there wanting a tranquil moment, and they've just got hormones coursing through them and then just talking absolute shit.
Did you isolate one of the students, hide behind a rock and say to your girls, that boy is a shithead?
Well, it was funny. I had 2 things inside me because I've been a stand-up for longer than I've been a parent. So quite often those instincts kick in.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but if you had a bunch of teenagers in a stand-up room, you would just have at them.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd be like shooting fish in a barrel. Like you'd be like, have you smooched her? Go on. what heavy petting's been happening between you? Have you got pubes? Just tell everyone now, have you got pubes? And it's like there's so much of me that wanted to ridicule them and take them down a peg so they would shut up.
Yes.
But of course, I've got my kids in front of me and my family, and I'm sitting there trying to take in this tranquil setting where I'm just like, I could roast you right now.
And also you can't say that stuff because then they'll do it at school and then they're the bully.
That is true.
Yeah.
That
you've
is
got to
true.
be very careful.
Like I've realised I can lower myself to a very juvenile conversation very quickly. Yes, I wanted to humiliate them to shut them up. I didn't because I thought that's better than, excuse me, guys. Excuse me, we're trying to enjoy ourselves here. I'm here with my family. Like, I don't want to be that guy.
No, and you can't be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy.
You can't be that guy.
Yeah.
You can't.
But I really wanted to, like, just point out. I'm like, I get it. You want to mac out with her. I get it. And just watch their faces go, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah, you do. I can tell by the way you're acting.
It's been so humiliating. I'm dying thinking about you doing that.
But I thought that's gross that's in my head. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Kakadu and all I can think about is roasting teenagers.
It's what were we talking about just off air? ABC.
Always be contenting.
Always be contenting.
I'm always on it.
Hey, I'm about to do something and you're going to ask me what am I doing?
What's that?
The sun is going down on this podcast, Dave Thornton, and I'm giving it a round of applause.
Well, look at us. You've been to Florence. I've been to Tennant Creek.
You've been to Uber.
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 Yeah.
Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time.
See you soon.
Bye.